What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we are going to be doing the 2G to 3G alternator upgrade on my Foxbody Mustang, and this is a very common upgrade because the alternator from the factory just couldn't perform, and since we have all this extra stuff on here, we gotta power it up a little bit better. So I did get the 3G alternator kit from Late Model Restoration in SVE. I'll show you the kit in a second. So we're doing this on my car because I didn't get to show you, or you probably saw at the beginning that I started the car up with the turbo on it and I was checking for oil leaks, and when I did that, a spark flew out of the alternator and it seized up totally. I can't move it at all now. So we are going to be getting rid of this and doing the upgrade, and I need it for my wideband anyway, and the Mega Squirt needs more power, and it was a good upgrade. So let's get right into the video. Let me show you what I got for the swap. Okay, and so here is what I got with the swap kit. Here is my 3G alternator, the 4G gauge power wire, and then my instructions from Late Model Restoration or SVE, and all the new plugs for it. So this is gonna be a good upgrade. I am excited for it for the Foxbody. The first thing we're gonna do is get that alternator off and get the new one on. And since I have the relocation bracket from On3 Performance in the turbo car, it's not as hard. So all I gotta do is there's one bolt on top and one bolt on the bottom. I'm gonna take those out real quick, unplug it. There's two plugs, there's one up here and then there's one down there. I'm gonna unplug it and we're gonna get this old alternator out. Okay, and if you are working with the stock alternator relocation bracket, you're gonna have two bolts on the alternator. One's gonna be there and one up on top, and you're gonna take those out and be able to remove the alternator. So it's very simple here too, but just something if you are working with the stock bracket. All right, and before you get started on this thing, make sure to disconnect your battery because you are working with all the electrical components. So we're gonna get this thing unplugged right now. All right, so now that we got the old unit out, and this is gonna look much nicer in the bay, but this is, yeah, just stuck. I can't move it at all. So the first thing that Late Model Restoration tells you to do is connect white wire to this white wire. So that's what we're gonna do real quick. Okay, and so what we're gonna do is this plug plugs right here, just like this. So I don't know why your cord would ever need to be this long. So we're gonna cut this back probably on the white wire and cut it to where it's nice and sleek and trim, so we'll probably butt connect it somewhere around here. And now I got it stuck. Should be able to plug it in, and voila. It's nice and tight, it's not all over the place. All right, cool. So white wire is done. So now for the green and yellow wire. All right, and so here is my stock factory disgusting alternator wire. What we're gonna do is we're gonna trim back all this disgusting tape and then cut both of these wires and splice them to those other green and yellow wires. And then for this one, so this, we are going to do the same thing. We're gonna trim the tape back and then we're gonna cut these wires and then put both of these connectors on them. The connectors will go on this terminal. So that's what we're gonna do real quick, and I'll show you how I'm doing it. Okay, so before I put the wires on the car, I'm going to trim off the plastic and put them in the puck connectors first, and then do it on the car. So let's get these ones done first. Okay, so we got both the butt connectors on here on the plug. All right, so next up, we're gonna cut these ones off, trim it back, and then put the new plug on. And so I am gonna leave a little bit of extra on this because the plug is getting relocated to a new spot. So before, it used to sit over like this, and with the new alternator, it's gonna sit up on top. So I am gonna leave some wire on there just so it can actually reach. So let's get that done. So both of these are connected together, green to green, yellow to yellow. And now what we're gonna do is this plug goes away, and check it out. We're gonna cut these and put these guys on there, these plugs. So we're gonna get that done real quick, and again, I'll show you when I'm done. So now we got both these guys on, and Late Model says that these are heat shrink. So what we're gonna do is gonna get the heat gun real quick and shrink these guys down. So let's see if that actually works. Same thing for the butt connector, so let's give it a shot. By the way, this was my old connector. Maybe that's why it was sparking. All right, so their shrink wrap actually works really well. So both of those guys are shrink wrapped on, and look how nice that is. So, all right, so I guess the next step is actually mounting the alternator. So it's gonna be fairly easy for me since I got the On 3 kit. So I don't have to cut anything, I don't have to do anything, it just places right down in here. There's a spacer that goes there and it's installed. So if you are using a factory mount, so you'd have to mark and cut right here because it hits. Here's the bottom of the alternator, here's the top, and it sets into this bracket just like this. So you set it down in there and it makes contact in here, so you have to make a mark and notch this out. But that's if you're using a factory mount like this, but we're not, so we get to skip this step because that's a pain in the butt. Alright, and so it's installed. It's kind of hard to see. I'm sorry about that. So a couple of the issues that I ran into because we're using this aftermarket stuff. So you see this? So since this connector is so big and bulky, I had to thread down the nut and move this up a little bit so it could actually have clearance for that. Not a lot, but there's enough, I guess. That worked out, but so the other thing I ran into was, since it has to set like that in that position, my belt, my original belt is way too short. It won't fit over that at all, and plus the actual pulley size is bigger than the one I had, so I am gonna have to get another belt, so I will do that tomorrow. And then the other thing is, we do have that 4-gauge power wire, and we are going to hook this up because this is the recommended thing to do. But late model restoration wants you to put it in a way, and I don't know if I'm gonna do it that way. So tomorrow we will find out, which will be really short for you, really long for me. All right, so we got all the plugs installed. You can see it nicely tucked right there. That guy and that guy looks way better than what it used to. And then we got those two black wires clamped onto the back of this guy too and snugged down. But this is where the power wire is gonna go as well, so we will have to be taking that off. But otherwise, it's all on, it all looks good, just the belt. So I gotta figure that out tomorrow, but it looks way nicer than that other unit that was on there. So I will see you guys tomorrow with a new belt and with more hope. So till tomorrow, guys. What's up, everybody? We are back, and I did find the right belt for the car. It is the Continental 775, which is the 77.5 effective length. So inch effective length, 77.5 inch effective length is what it is. So as you can see, it's on there, has ½ inch of play. Actually, maybe I could loosen it a little bit, it's pretty tight. And if you have the On 3 kit, that's as much room as you get. Not a whole lot. That's not cool, but whatever. So let's get into this 4-gauge wire install, and let me show you where I'm going to mount it. So this is the wire that late model restoration gives you, and they tell you they want this mounted right there, and I don't want to put it right there. I don't like that spot. It just makes more clutter. So this guy, that area has a bunch of disgusting, nasty clutter in it, and it gets covered up with our little cover thing. So what I'm going to do, so you see that spot down there? I'm gonna mount that equipment down there and hook the wire up here, and I think that'll look a lot cleaner. So let's get that done, and I will tell you if it worked or not. I'll definitely tell you if it didn't work, but I think that's gonna be the way to do it, and I'm just gonna run it along the front of the car. So let's get this thing done. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is on our solenoid is we are going to take off this bolt, and we're gonna put our new 4-gauge wire onto it. We're gonna put our box down here, so that's how we're gonna do it, and then run that wire up, just like late model said, up through under these two radiator mounts, and then back up under next to the wire and up to the alternator, and we will be heat shielding it since it's gonna be right next to the turbo. All right, so we got this 4-gauge power wire installed, and it's looking good, but let me show you how it goes, and there is a couple things I want to change. Okay, so first let's start from the alternator. Alternator's installed, so here is my wire with some heat wrap on it, and I don't like the way that is, how it like has to wrap around, and it's because the little plastic, there's like a little plastic nub on the back that only lets the wires go one way or the other, so it can't be down because those other two black ones that we installed earlier are down. So I had to install it up like that, so it has this weird sweeping curve on it. So I got to figure out something to get rid of that because I don't like it. I think I can put some kind of different terminal or wire on it. I can do something, so I'll fix that later, but for now it's installed. It wraps down and around, goes under each of these, just follows the existing wire. One of the things I didn't talk about is I didn't actually take the radiator mounts off. I had enough room to snake this guy underneath them. I did loosen this one just a touch, just so it had a little bit of wiggle, and I was able to sneak it under there, and so I didn't have to untie anything. Comes down around under the battery tray. All right, and there is where I mounted the fuse, and it works really well, and you can't see it. This best part is, as soon as I put the cover on, you won't be able to see any of this, but I liked it a lot better than up here like late model had it. I just stuck it down there and it works perfect. So and then I just ran that red wire up into this terminal right here, and this connects to the terminal with your power supply to the battery. So this one that it hooks up to should hook up to the same terminal. So the best part is, when this is said and done, I'll cover up that wiring with that little wire cover, and I won't have to see any of it, and I don't have even more wires, because this abomination of wires has to be dealt with at some point, and it's just not this video. We'll do it in a later one, probably when we do the fuel system. But for now, it is installed and it's ready to rip, so we finally got enough power to power everything on our Foxbody Mustang. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, comment. It helps the channel a ton. I just appreciate every single one of you that does do all of that. And thanks for sticking around. So that is the end of the video. I will catch you on the next one. We're gonna get this cold side on. So I'll catch you guys next time.
Wonder if all my bad decisions get accounted in the algorithms. No statistician could dissuade me from my bigger vision. I know my occupation's quite an unlikely place in this world to occupy and talk about upon a daily basis. Our information's predetermined by some biased business. We all in sermon to Silicon that push out lovely neighbors. I'm done with paper chasing, think I'm on to bigger banquets. This that full circle, new wave, energy on a Tuesday.